Glad you could join us. Now, in our first story, the Electoral Commission says it is open to the idea of compiling a new voters register for the 2020 election from the database of the National Identification Authority if the authority can finish its exercise in good time. The concession comes on the back of public resistance to plans by the EC to overhaul the current electoral system, which it says will be unable to support the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. At a meeting with selected journalists here in Accra, the EC argued that most of the devices in the current electoral system are burnt out. Dr. Yao Oforie is a consultant at the Commission.
So currently, the Commission is in a place where it is logged into a particular vendor. It's been logged in with this particular vendor since 2012. And the Commission wants to move away from that scenario where it has no control whatsoever with regards to its data systems, its voter management system. It needs to own that space. Now, in order for us to use the existing data that we have, we will need to migrate it. Unfortunately, the biometric templates that were generated for the system that we currently use were kept in a proprietary format. That format is not convertible, so we can't use it in another system except the system that was designed by the current vendor, and that's the vendor lock-in that we are talking about. So in my discussions, I've said that for people who already have a voter ID, there will be some migration of data. That data would be the bio data, which is the name, the age, my mother's address, father's address, etc. But what we would need to recapture will be the facial image and then the 10 fingerprints that the person has. And by so doing, we intend to drastically reduce the time it takes for a registration process to take place. So we are not discarding the data that we have, not at all. We are using the data that we have, and we are improving the quality of the images that already exist in the database by acquiring new ones.
So this is going to cost us how much?
I don't think we quite know what the exact figure is. There have been some projections.
Which figure or which ballpark figure are you looking?
I believe that during my presentation, the calculated figure for this was somewhere around about 50 million USD.
The NI data is not ready, but you can use it, you say.
So there are challenges with even using the NIA data.
Well, I heard the chairperson say that we can use it.
Yes, we can use it. Don't get me wrong, we can use it. And in fact, I'm a proponent for the use of the NHIA data NIA data as the source data for all the identification systems that are in the country. I'm a proponent for it. Okay. But for instance, the way in which the data was collected, for instance, did not take into consideration the polling stations of the individuals. What it means is that we may have unique individuals that the NIA can give us. But which polling station do they vote in? We don't know.
But that shouldn't be a problem from the explanation I've heard here.
Yes, so it is possible that once that data is ready, we then can start another process where we say, come with your NIA cards to your polling stations where you are, and they would then take that.
Yes, we can finish this. They could finish it in 2 months with with adequate pressure. Are you comfortable with the NIA finishing it in 2 months so they can use it?
I think that, and it's a big if, and unfortunately the Commission is not in the business of working with ifs. We want certainties. That is why we have specific timelines or specific points where certain things must be completed. So we cannot risk an election not happening because we gambled on an if. So the Commission will make sure that it's taking every step to ensure that should something not go right, we still will be able to conduct the election. I believe that the NIA should be given all the opportunity that it needs to be able to make sure that we get a unified identity system that all agencies can use. Can they do it before our timetable?
Now, Vice President of Imani Africa and a leading member of the civil society groups kicking against the compilation of the new voters register in an election year, Kofi Bentoo, says the reasons given by the EC for its action are not convincing enough. Speaking on News Desk a while ago, Kofi Bentoo indicated that CSOs would like to see more concrete action from government and the Electoral Commission.
Excuse me, that argument or whatever position they are taking is really I don't know what word to use, but it cannot be true. They just used the system 2 months ago. And before the last 2 months, they used it 4 times. I do not think that data that is ours can be locked up by the service provider. And if that is the situation, we can easily write and get it back. I don't think they have any particular use for that data, for which reason it's not going to be. These people have not restricted our use of the data all these years, including the last. What is special about the next election?
Perhaps it will be because our contract with them has expired, and so, well, they will not be obliged to allow us to access that data, Mr. Bentoo.
But I don't think the EC is even trying, all right? And I don't think that we are incapable as a nation of asking these guys to let us have our own data. That whole argument is really some way. But my point is that cannot be such a done deal that we'll not be able to get that data back. And I'm saying that I don't think it is true that the data has been locked down and we cannot use it, because we used it 2 months ago. So whatever they did to use it 2 months ago and 4 times before then, why can't they just do the same thing? Why can our government not go and talk to them? Why can our AG not go and talk to them? Why can't we not send our lawyers and agree something with them? Even if we have to pay them for the use of that data for the last time, I don't think it's going to cost us $100 million. So, I mean, I don't think that's a good enough excuse, for which reason now they want to buy data centers, they want to buy software, they want to buy hardware. If the fingerprint issue is the only issue, why are we buying data centers? Somebody is driving a procurement agenda and finding an excuse for it. And I don't think it's good enough. If this is the only reason, it should be solvable.
Mr. Bentoo, he says that working with the NIA is a big if, and the Electoral Commission cannot work with uncertainties.
Well, it speaks as if we don't have a government in this country. It speaks as if they live in a silo.
Still with politics, the NDC has officially launched a payment platform to allow members to contribute, members of the public to contribute to campaign financing. A flag bearer of the party, John Mahama, who led the launch of the digital platform, made a passionate appeal to the rank and file of the party to support the cause of what he described as the first step to rescue Ghanaians from the shackles and misery under the current administration. The former president, in his address, also argued that the execution of the electronic payment platform would enhance transparency and address concerns over political financing.
We have gathered again as one big, exciting umbrella family to launch our party's e-payment platforms and adopt a constituency, adopt a branch fundraising campaign. This launch begins a process which will allow for broad participation in the financing of the NDC and its activities. The electronic payment platform will allow all Ghanaians, not only registered members of the NDC, to contribute, no matter how small, to the running of the NDC and our campaign in election 2020 and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, over the years, many have expressed some misgivings about the opacity that characterizes political party financing in Ghana. I believe that this new, transparent and accountable electronic initiative will go a long way to dispel these concerns. We are demonstrating clearly that we in the NDC believe in openness and transparency in the way the affairs of our party are handled, and we are ready and willing to do better in our next government come 2021 by the grace of God Almighty. To this end, we pledge to uphold the highest standards of accountability in the way the funds mobilized from this initiative will be disbursed and utilized. Detailed records of contributions will be kept, and financial reports will be rendered to the Functional Executive Committee and the National Executive Committee regularly. For donors who wish to remain anonymous because of the vengeful nature of this current administration, I wish to assure them of the strict confidentiality and protection of their identities. This fundraising activity will strictly be in compliance with the Political Parties Act 547 and the Electoral Commission Act 655.
Now, the General Secretary of the party, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, also directed government officials who are disappointed to also make significant contribution to oust the NPP administration come December 7.
That mission has assignments for everybody. As the national chairman once said, we need to put all hands on deck. The leadership of NDC cannot undertake this mission alone. So it has to be undertaken through the collective efforts, not only of the membership of NDC, but every true and patriotic Ghanaian who is dissatisfied about the direction of our nation. And we have to do this with some effort. There will be people who go on missions. They will sacrifice their strength. There will be others who cannot go on missions. They will sacrifice some finances. Since the formation of this party, one of the biggest challenges we have faced has been how to operationalize the collective ownership of the party in terms of its funding. We came from the revolution believing that what concerns all must be decided by all. And so if everything is going to be decided by all, then we must all have a stake in making sure that we raise the appropriate funding for the party. And that is an important basis to demand our voice when it comes to party decision making.
Away from politics, police in Kumasi are holding a 19-year-old man who allegedly sexually abused a sheep, resulting in the death of the animal. Richmond Atta, who hails from Asotre near Ejiso, was caught in the act by some youth at about 8 p.m. on Thursday at Eija ECOWAS. The sheep wobbled soon after the act and died whilst being carried to the police station. He's said to have confessed to the act. My colleague Ohiming Teria has been following the incident and joins us on the phone with more. Ohiming, quite a bizarre incident, isn't it?
Yes, Daniel, even the owner of the sheep himself is surprised to hear. Yesterday, when I spoke to him, he was in shock that how would somebody walk from his house all the way to his pen, get hold of a sheep, and essentially abuse the animal in that way. So he took that initiative to prevent other residents who had wanted to abuse and attack the suspect before he was marched to the police station, where the sheep are being carried at shoulder high before they got to the police station. But unfortunately, the sheep passed away. As at the time I went to the police station, the carcass was still in front of the KNUST police station. It was only this morning that the owners were called by the police to come for the carcass and then bury it. And they say they have buried the sheep at the same spot that this gentleman allegedly abused the sheep sexually.
So what becomes of this man now?
As we speak, he's still in police custody. I have been trying to speak to the command officials at the KNUST District Police Command, but the district commander is not available for an interview. But my checks reveal the suspect, Prince Richmond Atta, is still in police custody, pending the directive of the district police commander.
Has he been charged?
No, for now he has not been charged, but the sources that I spoke to said he will be charged for animal cruelty, but that one will still have to be confirmed by the district police commander.
Thank you very much, Ohiming Teria, for those updates. We move to other stories in other parts of the country, and health authorities at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital say women are thronging to the hospital to get screened for cervical cancer since JoyNews started its campaign. Since last, the JoyNews, through its latest hotline documentary, Cervix in Crisis, has been chronicling the stories of survival, pain, misery and death as a result of cervical cancer, which kills over 1,500 women in Ghana every year. Deputy Director of Nursing Services in charge of reproductive health, obstetric and gynecology, Mavis Apatu, says as many as 40 women are reporting daily to get screened. She's calling on other media houses to emulate JoyNews.
They are really coming. In a day like this, we screen about 20 to 40 women. So it's like any time the awareness is created, then the women are like, oh yes, I have to come and have myself screened. Because that culture of women thinking the disease is far away from them is there. But you people are doing a great job. Because of the awareness, they are coming in their numbers. And we are also educating them. You see, it's a teamwork. If they also join creating the awareness, educating the women, then screening will become part of everybody. So the woman knows that even if my test result is negative, in the next 3 years, I have to go back and have myself screened for cervical cancer. Because we started that with breast cancer, and now we have gotten somewhere.
She tells JoyNews the hospital management has also set the whole month of February to do free screening for women.
First, we want to create the awareness so that every woman will know that cervical cancer can be prevented. And through that, we'll be educating our women so that when one person goes away, she targets about 10 to 20 to talk to them about cervical cancer screening. So with this, we are creating the awareness as well as educating our clients and also screening them so that at least they will cultivate the habit of having themselves screened.
Now, the Medina MTTD says it's recording more pedestrian knockdowns along the highway to Adenta because many pedestrians are still refusing to use the newly built footbridges. Officials say the situation is even worse at night because there are no lights on the footbridges. Government spent almost 13 million cedis on the structures after protests were mounted over frequent pedestrian knockdowns on the stretch. But as JoyNews' PSC and Anaya Safo reports, very little seems to have changed.
November 8, 2018, rage, bitterness and feeling of loss fills the air as a female student of the West Africa Senior High School is knocked down by a speeding taxi. Residents immediately staged a demonstration demanding the construction of footbridges. JoyNews was there.
Then the rubber bullet.
This is the same spot that saw massive protest on the loss of human lives about 2 years ago. And even though now about 6 footbridges have been constructed here at the Medina-Adenta Highway, we are told the problem still persists.
Superintendent Paul Wesley Barr is the MTTD Divisional Commander for Medina.
After the completion of the footbridges, the recalcitrant ones are saying they will not use the footbridge. They have been dead. Even a week to Christmas, we recorded 3.
Scores of pedestrians wait patiently behind a traffic officer who wags his torch, signaling cars to move. He is indifferent to the masses behind him as he believes they have a footbridge to cater for them. But for the pedestrians, the situation goes beyond disrespect for the law. They tell me they do not want to use the footbridge after dark. The street lights have not been functioning for 4 months.
The overpass, there is no any street light, there is no any reflective light that is showing on it. And the pickpocket, those who are picking us, the armed robbers and things, they are all there, they are all passing there. You see, as you can see, people are standing there. Whilst they are not going, they are not moving, they are just standing on it. They are not going. So if you are passing there and it's night like this, someone can just pick you and no one will know that, oh, this is what is going on. But if the light, like the light was working there, that one there, oh, you can say that, oh, it's because of the lights. But the light is not working. So you cannot pass there at night like this, because it has been happening always. The old women and things, they can come here, oh, they'll come and call the Okada boys, oh, this is what is going on, oh, someone just pick me. By the time you go there, the person has passed somewhere, you don't know where the person passed, you see. So we are begging so that they'll come and put this in the lights, they'll come and fix the lights so that everything can go on well. That one there, the Passover is good, we all beg for it so that they should bring it. So since the Passover has come there, we have to pass through, but the light is not working. Yes.
Food bridge in the baby, I want to case be on Quao for Nebia. Obi crabbe to imagine us what you say, can cry you in the BBF, because horns to darkness, but how so they open. Nipper $100 in case will be you, BB Crow, BB who crab. We are crom forward, you go just say they are crom forward.
This is too dark, so they have to put some light over there, then it will save the people.
For others, it remains simply a matter of the nearest shortcut.
Oh, never be here. Say they are there sent a free now. Police for no quadia near Befa. A bobby 80 room quadia, neating for her.
Now, Mamma also say how for a cat me bob.
A bet me. A rather one a DHM.
Superintendent Paul Wesley Barr admits the lack of street lights poses a threat to road safety too.
Our biggest challenge is the street lights. In the night, the pedestrians find it very difficult to use the footbridges because the place is so dark. Prior to the construction of the footbridges, the street lights were working. During the construction, they have to relocate some of the poles, and listen, upon completion, they have not been brought back.
All street lights from Medina Firestone to the Ritz Junction, numbering about 15, are elegantly mounted, yet non-functional.
It's only 8 p.m. here at Medina, yet the footbridge, constructed with close to 13 million Ghana cedis, is lonely, dark and abandoned. For a city that clamors with lots of citizens, with scores across the street still struggling to cross, there remains much to be done. PSA Nana Elsafo's report for JoyNews.
Now, over 11,000 beneficiaries of the Nation Builders Corps NAPCO have now transitioned from the scheme to entrepreneurship and other employment pathways. This is according to the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Ibrahim Anyas, who attributes this to the fact that NAPCO has successfully enhanced the employability profiles of beneficiaries. He was speaking to journalists at Bolgatanga in the Upper East region, where the NAPCO Skills and Talent Academy Regional Roadshows was taking place.
The Nation Builders Corps, NAPCO, was instituted in 2018 by government to address graduate unemployment in the country. 100,000 youth were enrolled into 7 modules under the scheme. 1 year on, the president has launched the NAPCO Skills and Talent Academy, a learning platform to make it easier for NAPCO trainees to obtain the requisite skills to enable them exit the program into other employment areas. Dr. Anyas Ibrahim is Chief Executive Officer for NAPCO.
So we have been in 11 regions. In fact, Upper East region is the 12th region to visit on the NAPCO Skills and Talent Academy. And we call it the regional road shows because we're speaking to bigger audiences. As you can see, over 1,000 people are here today listening to us. And those are the audiences we get in every region we go. NAPCO was crafted as a work and learn program. The first year we dealt comprehensively with the work placement bit. And you see that all these people are in organizations to gain on-the-job training, work requisite skills, work readiness skills, and now is the time to drill down to the learning bit. And so from the second year, our focus is to make sure that the career pathways are clearly defined and we empower the trainees themselves to be able to exit.
He said over 11,000 beneficiaries of the Nation Builders Corps have now transitioned from the scheme to entrepreneurship and other employment pathways.
When we collated the data, we realized that over 11,000 NAPCO trainees had exited. Now, by the end of the first quarter, first quarter of this year, we'll do another, round of evaluation of the program. That will be halfway through the program to see how many people have actually transitioned from this particular initiative, which was meant to lead or enhance their employability profile. How many of them have actually found those retention pathways or those entrepreneurship pathways, or have moved on to pursue career-focused learning? Because for us, those are the clear pathways all these people who are on the scheme may likely pursue, and we track those numbers carefully. So,
on the NAPCO Skills and Talent Academy Regional Roadshow, the beneficiaries in the Upper East region were given capacity training in the areas of CV writing, work ethics, job search, career development, how to answer interview questions, among others. Addressing the youth, Upper East Regional Minister Tangoba Abayage said NAPCO had come to rescue thousands of Ghanaian graduates, many of whom hitherto would have been unemployed for a long time.
A total of 100,000 Ghanaians were given the opportunity to contribute to nation building and earn a living. The Upper East region was not left out, as we currently have some 3,805 youths working in various fields. I should be quick to point out that recruitment and employment are not the only objectives of NAPCO. There is an underlying imperative to give recruits emerging industry skills and knowledge to broaden their horizon.
For JoyNews, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
Now let's take it to a village in Burkina Faso called Yele, where both live band and studio-generated music is forbidden at social gatherings. So instead of DJs blaring local and foreign hits from loudspeakers, partygoers are serenaded by singers using nothing but their vocal cords. JoyNews' Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin attended a typical marriage ceremony in this village where locals believe patronizing contemporary music undermines their age-old traditions.
They dance to their own songs from the power of their stunning voice. Movement of both legs and entire body gives life to the celebration here at Yale. It is 9 a.m. Saturday, and women are expected here in the course of the day.
What you see behind me is a marriage ceremony here at Yele in Burkina Faso. This is exactly what they do in every marriage ceremony. They are not ready for any musical instrument because it is against their beliefs.
We thank Allah for this day, that He has favored our sister, Rukaya Yusuf, by blessing her with a husband. We pray Allah to make the marriage ceremony a success.
Call it culture on display, marriage ceremony without modern musical instruments.
I am the auntie to the bride, and this is the reason why we don't allow musical instruments. It is un-Islamic, and without the music instruments, we make both the bride and groom happier in their marriage life. Our traditional music is important to us because both the bride and groom will be happy, and the children will also learn from it.
While women dance to their own tunes inside, men mind their business outside. They never interfere in each other's affairs at such occasion or any other gathering. Abdullahi Musa is a native who was born and raised in Kumasi. His relocation to Yale brought a whole new perspective to his life.
I used to go to musical jam, but when I came here, I don't do that again. I have stopped all that we did in the past because it is not allowed here. You know, when there is such musical jam, boys and girls come together to commit certain acts.
Natives use opportunities like this to teach girls to avoid deviating from what is defined here as right or wrong. So I asked what is wrong with using musical instruments.
To be honest, musical jam is not important in our life.
Women can have fun or dance without mingling with men. We can have fun in the bride's house for as long as we want. But when we go to the groom's house, we minimize the fun.
Our cameras captured the bride who was ready to begin her journey to the groom's house. Here too, there is no refreshment or even long gathering of men and women after the ceremony is over.
Quite the happy ceremony there, and government says it's considering alternative ways of dealing with illegal mining. Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining, Operation Vanguard, and even a new illegal mining law which pegs sentences to 25 years are key interventions by the Akufo-Addo-led administration to stem the menace, which is the #1 threat to the country's forest reserves and water bodies. But the phenomenon seems far from ending. Land and Natural Resources Minister Coup Treme, who came face-to-face with the re-emergence of illegal mining in the Oda River Forest Reserve and the Oda River, said government has to meet to revise its notes. My colleague Latif Idris has more.
Close to 3 years of fighting illegal mining across the mining regions across the country, it appears the fight is not achieving or realizing the desired result. Illegal miners, Chinese and locals, continue to evade authorities to dig for gold in the country's forest reserves. Today, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister Kofi Bentoo has taken the fight to yet another mining region, that is the Ashanti region. In the Oda River Forest Reserve, illegal miners continue to pillage the forest for gold at the blind side of authorities. The distraught minister says the strategy is changing with immediate effect.
Together with technical officers from the Minerals Commission and the Forestry Commission.
You think the military is the way to go?
Yeah, as of now, we have no other alternative than to use them. You know, these miners, if you come here unarmed, you may be attacked. No civilian can easily approach them to tell them to stop, unless our brothers in the military are here. Their uniform alone is enough scare to them.
So how soon should we expect this military deployment to this other forests?
Just next week it will happen. You see, there is one excavator.
Sorry.
Today too. There is one excavator in the...
You will know for?
Yes, in the open pit. And as soon as they saw us, they fled.
Yeah.
It means that when we leave here, they will come back and work. So the action that we have to take here will have to be immediate. You see how they have devastated the forest.
Expect more on this story in subsequent bulletins. Coming up in business, though, Finance Ministry constitutes Forex Committee to deal with challenges of cedi stability. Emmanuel Abwajiriafi has more.